Welcome to the Girls Bathroom podcast. So hard for me to say podcast in a regular tone. My brain, for some reason, wants to say podcast. And I think it's from that video. What you eating? Popcorn. So usually before I record, I break down the question because so far the questions have been really good and I want to make sure I'm answering them to the best of my abilities. But this question here, I'm like, no, I'm about to raw dog it. I'm about to go straight in because this is something I know all too well. I don't take pride in these situations or this time of my life, but I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about sisterhood, friendship, and it's honestly half of the reason why we're here today, why I am able to do something like the Girls Bathroom series, and I have this endless amount of lessons to share with y'all. Like, these were L's for me, but I did the work. So maybe you don't have to one day by taking heed to my lesson. So let's get into this beautiful question. How do you rebuild a friendship after 1, a long period of distance, or 2, once the trust is broken? How do you navigate deciding to let people back into your life? When is it ever okay? Should they have to display change first before fully accepting them back into your life if you decide to do so? And one of the reasons why I did not want to write and dissect this question, because I want to speak from the heart about this. I do not want to sit and try to craft the best answer to make me look or sound good, due to the amount of bullshit I've experienced around this type of thing. So when you talk about rebuilding a friendship, it depends. Every part of this question is a beautiful question, but this type of thing varies upon situation. It varies upon person. I think you have to truly know a person and accept who they are so you can better deal with what comes with them. There's just certain things certain type of women do where it's expected. Like, you can rarely ever be shocked, hurt, disappointed. And this typically happens when we're young, right? Grown women, we should not be breaking our friendships and ruining our friendships and letting something like distance and time break that friendship, right? When a friendship is true, once that sisterhood is developed, it does not matter the time or distance you go without talking. Why? Because there's understanding and there's respect. Everything cannot always be about us. Our friends may be going through some things, but if we can maintain that communication, feed that trust, we'll be okay. And honestly, even when we do allow distance and life circumstances to happen in our friendships, we also have to be okay with the fact that we may lose this friendship along the way. This friendship may not continue to look the same, but I will always love this person. I will always be there for this person. What you trust them with could change. How and when you talk could change. But after a certain period of time and we miss out on very important parts of each other's life, we cannot expect that friendship to be the same. We just can't. It's unrealistic. So that's the type of situation where we say life happened. Life just happens. In those cases, we cannot be mad at each other. We cannot be mad at ourselves. If we are still alive and living and we have the ability to check on this person here and there, send love, we do that. But we do not try to force something that we just cannot make happen. And sometimes once you neglect things, you lose things. But now if we're talking about the trust is broken, I believe once the trust is broken in a friendship, that's just what it is, unfortunately. I don't think that we should build a restraint to be trusting of people when they hurt us or giving us reasons not to trust them. We have to accept the fact that we cannot trust them. And I'm not saying that it's okay, but it's not the worst thing in the world, right? It happens. Again, sometimes it don't always mean a friendship must come to an end, but it just change how we conduct friendship. And depending on the person, I feel like trust can be redeemed depending on the situation. I personally have a situation where I had to let a friend know that I was hurt because I felt like the trust was broken. She completely understood, so much so she was like, well, if you don't find yourself trusting me again, aka like sharing with me anymore, I will understand, but I will want to know. And I feel like that's so real. And I was able to let her know. I'm not sure at this time, and I owe myself that, and I'm happy that she can respect that. And that's a part of being an adult. That's a part of life. That's a part of actually wanting community, actually caring about your sisterhood. We cannot have this expectation that it's going to be perfect and these women are going to get and understand us down to a T. That's not realistic. But what we can do is let our friends know how we feel. They can listen and they can show care and support moving forward. It does not have to be rocket science. It does not have to be the end of the world. We also don't have to be so hard on each other and ourselves when these type of things happen. I think it's important when navigating sisterhood and developing friendship, you have to leave room for error. You have to leave room for error because that's the only way we can continue to learn and do better. In most cases, you wouldn't know how to handle something until it happens. So a lot of the times we like to glamorize sisterhood and this view of just, oh, it's so perfect and we skipping and hopping in rainbows and matcha and lemon drops. But sometimes players fuck up. And we have to give each other that because at the end of the day, we're human.
So, how do I go about navigating letting people back into my life?
Very hard for me to do so. I typically don't do it anymore because every time I felt like I missed a friend, I will be the one to reach out. I will, hey, and I always did it when it really came over my heart to do so, which is why I don't regret those moments to this day, even though I was shown why the friendship no longer existed. I found out in the worst way. And you would think there's nothing more like heartbreaking or embarrassing. I'm not embarrassed. I wasn't embarrassed then. I'm not embarrassed today. If anything, then I was just really upset with myself. Not even them. You have to, and DMX said this, you have to trust people to be themselves. How people appear to be, that's who they are. And you have to trust your ability to see people for who they are. I'm going to go back and find that quote and I'm going to share it because that exactly. So I learned that I have to be very careful with letting people back into my life because I'm very careful and intentional about the friendships I do build to even let you in to begin with. Like, that's not something I take lightly. I am very family oriented. So once I take you in, my friends know, like, you're invited into my home. You're invited into my world. Like, it really becomes that for me. So when somebody do something, and yes, when somebody do something and ruin that, I'm heartbroken. It's just like, wow, because I let you in. So, nah, I don't play. I've learned to not play about myself even more because while I may act and come from a genuine place of like, oh, I miss you, let's like rebuild, it's not always guaranteed that the other person is the same way. But if this person have the same core values as me, and let's just say we, just stop talking, nothing traumatic or disrespectful happened, then we can work on it. But what I've learned to do is set like non-negotiables because I don't ever want to feel how those women in the past made me feel. Anything down the lines of gaslighting me, manipulating me, trying to weaponize my truth against me, trying to turn other people against me, and taking anything I say off social media, like making that a thing, those are non-negotiables for me. Like, once people violate me in those ways, I've just learned that those are people I cannot let back into my life because those are signs and behavior that you do not trust me and you do not know me. If I've given you a certain level of access to me where you should have gotten to know me and you still assume or attack my character in some way, you don't give me the benefit of the doubt, I can't do it, boo. We're just not meant to be friends. And I've learned that that's okay. So it doesn't really matter to me if people look like they changed because again, you have to trust people to be who they are. So if we have went long periods of time without being in each other's life and we reconnect, everything can sound good. Everything can look good for the moment. But soon enough, only with time can you tell have someone really changed. Only through experience, only when those moments happen, you'll be able to tell this bitch ain't changed. I've had that experience too. I thought sis was on the up and up. I thought, like, oh, she's more empathetic. She's a little bit more compassionate, understanding. She don't seem to be as harsh and mean as before. Honey, as soon as the opportunity presented itself, she did not hesitate to shit on me. Well, attempt to. It was just like, oh, bitch, you are still the same person. So yeah, I think as women, period, with men and with other women through friendship, we should not make it so easy for people to manipulate us, sell us dreams, and bullshit us. Men are not the only people that do it. Women do it in friendship as well. Mothers do it to their children. And sometimes we just have to accept things for what it is. Accept people for who they are, and just let it be. Don't let nobody tell you more than once that they don't fuck with you. Don't let nobody show you more than twice that they don't fuck with you. Like, you gotta let it be. So let's do a recap to make sure we're on the same page, because I said a lot. So how do you rebuild a friendship after long distance? However you guys want to, whatever works best for you two, whatever feels the most natural. You can take your time. You do not have to become besties again overnight. It's a process. And you both should grant yourself the time to navigate that, because you may realize after a few hangouts, I don't want to do this. And that's okay. After the trust is broken, I personally think once the trust is broken, just leave it be. You may not get the same friend back that you had before. It's not going to be the same relationship as before. You can maintain a relationship with this person, but you have to keep in mind that this is somebody you cannot trust. So in that case, a friend gets demoted. You can go from friend to associate. It happens. And navigating letting people back in. Again, whatever flows and fits and feels the most natural to you. You do not have to go by any other rules or advice video you see online. Just take your time. Don't force yourself. Always check in with yourself after you hang out and talk to this person. Check in with yourself. How did this interaction make me feel? Did I feel like myself? Was I being myself? It's always good to look inward to decide on what you want to do and how to go about navigating something. When is it okay to let someone back in your life? When you weren't disrespected, when you weren't harmed, when you weren't manipulated, or even emotionally abused, drained. Any friendship that has left you feeling depleted, drained, misunderstood, disrespected, leave it where it's at, boo. It's just not worth it. I don't personally think it's worth it at all, because it's something about that person or it's something about you and that person being friends that doesn't align. It isn't healthy. It does not flow. There's no respect. There's no commitment to understanding. There's no grace. Then there's no point of being friends. No matter how much time passed, no matter how good the memories are, it's fuck that. That's it. So when it comes down to this person displaying change, it really doesn't matter. People can show you what they want you to see. That's a risk. Banking on someone changing. If this person has changed, you will be able to see it in other areas of their life, especially their family, within themselves. Just how they go about things will change. And most likely they will reach out to you first. Now, that's not always a good sign if the friend reaches out to you first. But a lot of times, the women that we shouldn't be friends with, when we reach out to them first, I believe it gives them a sense of like validation that like they're not the problem. So you have to be careful even reaching out to friends to spin the block and hoping that they change, because she could be looking at you like you a damn fool. Whether she says it or show it or not, I don't think you can really count on an old friend changing for the better and looking at you and handling you with love, respect, and care. If it was not there the first time, it will not be there the second time. And I love the last part of this question. It says, if you decide to. I think that's really important because we do have the choice to decide who we want in our lives. We also have the right to change our mind. One minute we can feel like we want to be friends with someone, and with more time and thought, we realize we don't want to be friends with someone. And that's okay. That is one of the best things about womanhood, is that you get to be selective. You get to make your own choices and change your mind. We should not feel imprisoned by making a choice and sticking to that one choice. There's no freedom and joy in that, by thinking you have to be one way or making one choice and just staying that way. F what the people got to say. If you want to change your mind about your life that you live every day, you have the right to do that. I do want to close out this episode with a piece I wrote in 2018. I was 22 years old, and I was in the midst of my healing process of falling out with a friend group, in addition to another friend around that time. And even then, I reached out to all of these not all of them, 3 of them, and it still all ended very badly than the first time we fell out. I figured it'll be a great idea to share this piece. It aligns with this episode, and it's also proof to my progress in my healing, almost like a testament. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. The piece is called A Bridge Worth Burning. It's one thing to fall off with a friend, and it's another to burn your bridges with someone. I believe in the process of growing up and dealing with our own shit, we don't realize there's a thin line between the two. We get so caught up in me, as we rightfully should in our 20s, but we never take the time to consider someone else's emotions and life circumstances. That we unknowingly change the nature of the relationship when it becomes, but what about me? Fuck you, but you did this. So what? Me. Which changes the whole language of the friendship/relationship. The energy is shifted over into a new territory that neither of you is familiar with. In most cases, situations as such can be fixed. But on the other hand, some people, they start to grow comfort in certain characteristics that doesn't register with your moral and conscious guide. That's when things can't be fixed and bridges burn. It creates a huge disconnect, which creates miscommunication, distance, and in most cases, conflict. Let's be honest. It sucks losing a friend, someone who's witnessed a good portion of your dirty laundry up close, figuratively and literally. Someone you've shared your deepest, darkest secrets and insecurities with. Someone you confided in, listened to, cried with, and struggled with. Just for all of that to come to an abrupt end. Damn, was we really real friends? It's a question that crosses many of our minds when we believed in our hearts that we were genuinely friends with someone. If you never asked yourself that question, whether it be to yourself out loud or even directly to that person, 9 times out of 10, you always knew you wasn't genuinely that person's friend. That's not okay. But it'll be all right if you take accountability for your actions and be honest with yourself and that person by letting them know what your true intentions were. Whether it was just to wear their clothes, know their secrets, get close to a guy or another female, whatever. Just let it be known and go about your life and just hope that person don't slap the shit out of you. The friendship biz just all get too tricky as we get older. And the pressure is really on once the friendships start to fail or give you weird vibes. However, I do believe that you're not meant to be friends with everyone forever. Some people are really just a season, and that's okay. But once that season has ended, do we just fall off with that person like nothing ever happened? And how do we do it so there's not any tension or beef? How do we keep things real and mature? Do every friendship has to end with everything going up in flames? And I mean petty shit, sneak distance, sub tweets, stop liking each other photos, etc. That type of behavior is what triggers someone to ask, damn, was we really real friends? And just fade away is a gut punch to your chest, like damn. But it's also one of the best eye openers and lessons in life there is to experience. You find yourself questioning everything from your actions and behavior to them, to the entire friendship, which creates the big question, the very question that helps us learn about ourselves. Ooh, what a cliffhanger. I don't know what the question is. I stopped writing. I don't know if I started writing on another document. I don't know. But yeah, that was from 22-year-old Shana B asking the hard questions, talking about her feelings and grieving old friendships and narratives she once held on to. And would you look at that? We are here today, like I said, the Gurls Bathroom series podcast, okay? You get through things. You learn from things. It is not the end of the world when a friendship ends. I really hope I answered your question. I feel like that was a lot. And again, if you guys would like to give me more context for some things and you want my help, feel free to message me. I am more than willing to help you get through whatever you may be going through. And I know a lot of women don't like to use that type of language surrounding friendship because everybody wants to feel and look like they're so above it, right? It's not that serious. I don't care. Da da da. Congratulations, love. But it's life. And friendship, sisterhood, it can have an effect on us. Sisterhood does matter. If you do not believe sisterhood matters and is valuable, again, congratulations and good luck, especially over the course of the next 4 years. Good luck. However, if you're here with me, we're at an eye, you're in the bathroom, you're in the stall, we're taking pics, we're laughing, having a good old time in the girls' bathroom like we always do. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Thank you for submitting questions. Thank you for sharing the podcast with people. This is all new for me. This is new. I am recording this in my living room. I am editing this on my own. So it's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I want your support and feedback along the way. So that wraps up our third episode, Spinning the Block. It's the best thing I could come up with. And thank you again. Don't forget, submit a question. Look forward to episode 4 next Saturday.